Hi there, neighbors. So today we're going to be talking about label reading. Now, I don't know about you guys, but has this ever happened to you?
You wake up in the morning and think to yourself, what a beautiful day. Today is the day I'm going to start following my doctor's advice and get healthy. I'll start making all my meals at home from scratch and buy fresh fruits and vegetables. But then you remember you have kids and pets and work and a social schedule. How are you going to make food from scratch with all these other things in your life? It can be pretty overwhelming. But then you remember something that you heard from the health program group. There are ways to eat healthy using canned or processed foods. That could save you a lot of time. So you decide to go to the grocery store. At the store, you start looking at the processed foods. You remember you need to look at the nutrition facts label, but it's a bunch of gibberish. You're very overwhelmed, so you ask someone for help. They look pretty knowledgeable, but they don't know the differences between different brands either. What's the difference between types of fat? Is 1,000 milligrams of salt okay? It's all very confusing. Well, we have good news. Today we're going to be going over some basics about nutrition fact labels to help you pick healthier options for processed foods. First, we'll go over the serving information. At the top of the nutrition facts label, you'll see the number of servings in the package, called the servings per container, and the serving size. Serving sizes are standardized to make it easier to compare foods that are similar. The serving size is how much a person would usually eat or drink of that particular food in one sitting, but it isn't a recommendation of how much you should eat or drink. It's important to know that all the amounts shown on the label are referring to the size of the serving to make sure you know how much you're eating. Next, we'll look at the calories, which are a measure of how much energy is in one serving of the food. For most people, it's recommended to eat about 2,000 calories per day, but you may need more or less than that depending on your height, weight, age, and so on. Below that is the nutrients section of the label. This shows you nutrients that have an impact on your health. Make sure this section has more of the nutrients you want and less of the nutrients you don't want. Some of the nutrients you want less of are saturated fats, trans fats, sodium or salt, and added sugars. These nutrients can have negative effects on your body. The amount of fats and sodium are easy to see, but the added sugars can be a little tricky. The section that says total sugars is actually the added sugars plus the natural sugars present in the food. A little below that, you can see the added sugars amount. This is the sugar from added sweeteners like sugar, honey, and things like that. So you want to make sure the added sugars, fats, and sodium are as low as possible. The nutrients you want more of are the dietary fiber, vitamins, calcium, iron, and potassium. These nutrients help you feel more full on less food and can regulate your digestive system, lower blood pressure, and more. Next is the percent daily value section. This section shows the percentage of the daily value of nutrients in one serving of food. These make up portions of your daily diet based on 2,000 calories per day and can help you see if a food has a lot of a certain nutrient or not as much of that. As a general rule of thumb, 5% or less of a nutrient per serving is considered low, while 20% or more is considered high. This section also helps when you want to compare different brands.
All right, so now that we know a little bit more about label reading, we have Mrs. Morganette here to talk about why it's so important.
There's many health advantages to being able to read your labels. The diseases like diabetes and hyperglycemia are very adamant about reading your labels. You look up your calories or your carbs, you look on the back, it tells you exactly how many servings for each item. And then you go down and you look at your carb intake. So this for half a box or 1 cup of prepared, the total carb is about 21%. Now, if you're on a diet that is 45 carbs per meal, you've eaten half your carbs.
Oh, that's a good point.
So you have to be very careful and look on each thing. Like this one is your green beans. The carbs on this is only 3 grams. So a lot of vegetables, if they're not a root crop, you can eat quite a bit of them.
Wow,
A cup or
that's
more
good to
of
know.
each of them. Macaroni, rice, potatoes, they all have different amounts of carbs in them.
Right.
This is what, beans? Chili beans. If you look down and you see your carb content, there's 30 grams in 1 cup of this.
Wow.
So that's about 3/4 of your meal.
Right?
If you put a piece
Yeah.
of bread with that, then that's your whole meal.
Right.
So it's very important. Fruit's another one because a lot of them have sugar in them.
Mm-hmm.
This is 17 grams for half a cup.
That's a lot.
That's about 1/3 of your meal.
Mhm.
And here's another kind of beans. This is your pork and beans. There's 21 carbs in this, 21 grams of carbs in half a cup. So if you eat a whole cup of this, you've eaten most of your carbs.
Right.
One thing you can do is augment what you're eating. The carbs, like you can have macaroni and cheese. Okay, you look down here, your carbs say 21% or 57 grams.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's more than you can eat and that's for 1 cup.
Right.
So if you cut that in half,
Mm-hmm.
you got a proper serving, half a cup, and it's about 26, 27 grams. So you could still eat a nice salad,
Right.
a slice of bread, and that would be your meal.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Mrs. Morganette. All right, so with those tips, we have pretty much everything that we need to eat healthy. So let's eat healthy.